Hey guys, this is my walk around on my 1988 Jeep Comanche that I completely swapped over to a 98. I swapped a 98 drivetrain and electrical system, so it's OBD2. I'm going to do a quick walk around. I'm going to talk about a few of the features, and I also, if you subscribe to my channel, I'll have a link to some videos of how I did some of this in particular. So this is a 1988 Comanche I started out with. In here, it is a complete 1998 5-speed manual AX15. Fuel injected, OBD2. So I did the entire dash wiring harness as well as the entire body wiring harness. So it's power windows, power locks. I'm finishing up the keyless entry, air conditioning, cruise control, heat. I've got an overhead console for it. I swapped over the doors, so I've got the strikers for a 98 because these are 1998 doors. The clutch pedal sled, emergency brake, airbag module, PCM. Under the hood, it's a complete 1998 cruise control, 98 fuse box. Everything's been swapped over. The booster, all brand new brake lines on it. The PCM, the washer, fluid reservoir that's in the fender here. As far as the axles, I've got a cab fab steering system. It's a rough country lift, and I've got 410 geared axles. These are out of a 4-cylinder 5-speed Wrangler. So 4-cylinder 5-speed Wrangler came stock with 410 axles. On the front, for a TJ style Wrangler, all the mounts and brackets are all the same. The axle pretty much just bolts right in. On the rear, I just cut the coil spring mounts off and welded a set of leaf spring perches on, which I really needed to weld leaf spring perches on anyway, because with the lift, in order to keep the pinion angle correct, that was something that needed to be done. On the rear here, I did a spring under spring for the lift. So this is a 6.5-inch lift. I've got a spring under, and I put a little bit longer shackle on it. And as far as the fuel system for a 98, I'm using the stock tank, the stock pump. I swapped the sending unit for the fuel gauge, so the resistance would read correct for my fuel gauge, and I'll have a video highlighting that. This originally was a return style system. I went returnless, and I'm using a internally regulated fuel filter from a 2001 Grand Cherokee. So this is kind of the walk around of my build. I'll have links to individual videos about how I modified the dash and the firewall to fit, how I installed the center console brackets, how to install the later model doors and striker assembly, and how to install the engine and the wiring harness. So this was pretty much gutted down to a complete bare shell. All the Comanche wiring had to be ripped out, and this wiring had to be put in, and I had to merge the body harness of the Cherokee with the Comanche harness for the tail lights and that. A couple things now that I've finished the build, this is a good budget build if you have a 2-wheel drive Comanche and you're looking to swap to 4-wheel drive. Maybe it's a 4-cylinder and you want a little bit more power, getting rid of that Renault Renex system and going to OBD2 Chrysler fuel injection is a very nice feature. As far as this swap, I bought a complete vehicle to start with. It was rusted, had blown brake lines, and I couldn't imagine or couldn't think that you could really do this swap if you were just going and getting parts from the junkyard. The way to really do this swap is you get a complete vehicle, make sure it's running properly before you start, make sure there's no electrical issues, everything's fixed and it's working, and then rip it apart. The vehicle I had was extremely rusted. The frame and floors had damage, and so it was beyond savable, and I picked it up for very cheap and then used the entire drivetrain in this. This is a good budget style build to do this swap. If you don't have some fabrication skills, a welder, it's not bolt-in. It may seem like it, but there's a lot of differences in the firewall and the bulkhead and some of the routing that you have to cut, drill, weld in brackets. It could possibly be done with some self-tapping screws, but it would be a little bit messy. And the thing to remember why I did this swap is really budget oriented. This was originally a 2-wheel drive and the engine was blown anyway, so it all needed to come out. If you've already got a 4-wheel drive, good running 6-cylinder, I would not recommend doing it. It's not worth the hassle, the time, and the effort. If you've got a 4-cylinder, it's a good upgrade, or possibly if you're going to be swapping it from 2-wheel to 4-wheel, it could be a good upgrade, and it's going to be a huge savings over doing a V8 swap or something like that. If you're worried about budget and you're thinking about doing a V8 swap, you shouldn't be doing it because it's not going to turn out well. So those are my thoughts on it. I hope you enjoyed my walk around. Take a look at my channel. I'm going to be uploading videos talking about some of the individual things, so this is a good introduction if you're thinking about doing a swap like this yourself. And it is a worthwhile swap depending on what you're starting with and what your budget is. Really, this wasn't very expensive because all the parts came on the Jeep I bought, and then I scrapped the Jeep and got some money back. So and everything's over the counter. No custom parts were needed for this. The only custom stuff I have is in the suspension. Everything under the hood, drivetrain, electrical, is all just stock over the counter, pick up at your local auto parts store, which is nice for wheeling if you break down or something like that. AC blows ice cubes, so everything on this thing functions as it should. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see the rest of the videos, click around on my channel and hit that subscribe button.